everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to study about the alginate hydrocolloid. The alginate hydrocolloid is also said to be the irreversible hydrocolloid. Why is it said to be irreversible? I hope you all know this because once you have used the material, you cannot use it again and again for correction or anything. So that is the reason it is said to be the irreversible hydrocolloid and the alginate hydrocolloid also. So this is going to be part 1 of the video in which we will be talking about everything related to the components, advantages, disadvantages and the properties of alginate. In part 2 we will be talking about the trace erection. Now if we talk about the alginate, the very basic and the first question that comes in our mind is, from where are we getting this alginate? So we get this alginate from a brown seaweed and from alginic acid, that is the N-hydro-beta-D-mannuronic acid. Okay, you need to remember this name. You can be asked this in the Viva questions. So this is the name of the alginic acid, that is the N-hydro-beta-D-mannuronic acid. This is from where you get the alginate. So like agar, it is also a natural hydrophilic colloidal polysaccharide which is extracted from brown seaweed. Now alginate, how do you get this alginate? Usually you get this in a bulk packaging, or there can be these pre-weighted sachets which are just for one single use, but this bulk is for different uses, like you can do many patients with this one box. Okay, and now you will also get this measuring scoop and a cylinder with this pack. Why? Because you need to measure a proper amount of powder and liquid, and the powder and water ratio should be very perfect. So alginate is supplied as bulk packaging or pre-weighted packaging as an individual impression. A plastic scoop is supplied for the use of powder, and a cylinder is there for measuring the amount of water. Now what is the general fixed ratio which we are supposed to take? In 16 grams of powder we are supposed to take 38 ml of water, that is 1:2. So you have to remember this ratio very by tips, by heart. You need to know this, that the powder and liquid ratio should be 16 grams of powder in 38 ml of water. Now moving ahead, what are the uses of alginate hydrocolloid? So remember, whenever you get a question in university exam or any other exam and you are supposed to answer about or write a long note about alginate, you have to mention everything: definition, components, uses, disadvantages, advantages, properties, mixing time, everything. Okay, so this is a kind of a complete long note answer. So it is used for impression making in which kind of areas where there are undercuts, first point. Secondly, in mouth which have got excessive flow of saliva, ऐसे mouth जिनमें बहुत ज़्यादा excessive hyper saliva होता है, and for partial dentures with clasp. Now for making a preliminary impression for complete dentures also you can use this, or for duplicating models. So this is what we use in prosthodontics. If we talk from the orthodontics point of view, then many a time if patient comes to you, what you can do is take the impression, then pour the dental stone, and then you're going to get a cast. For example, this is your tray and which is having impression. Now the next step you do is to pour the mix of dental stone on it. After you have poured the dental stone, you will get a cast which is just going to be the impression of a patient's mouth in your hand, right? And that can further be used for the study purpose, for fabrication of appliances, or as a maintenance record. Moving ahead to the properties of alginate. Dimensional stability is usually poor. It is not very stable. It cannot be preserved for a very long period of time. It is going to shrink. Okay. Strength, if we talk about strength, there is poor tear strength. Very easily it can be distorted. So the tear strength is very poor, and it is not very strength. It has not got a lot of strength. Now addition to the tray, there is basically mechanical interlocking. Very important. Your alginate is never going to stick to the perforated tray. Okay, it is just going to fit inside the locks of the tray, and that is said to be mechanical interlocking. So addition of the tray of the material is mechanical interlocking. The taste and odor is usually good, and the water powder ratio I just told you, 16 grams of powder to 38 ml of water. Moving ahead, what are the ideal requisites of an impression material? What are the needs, the ideal needs of an impression material, you should say? For non-toxic to the tissues, obviously it should not harm the oral tissues. It should have an adequate shelf life. Shelf life means you should have that much of shelf life that you can store it for at least 1 year. Okay, it should not get spoiled, or it should not lose its property before 1 year at least. So it should have a good amount of storage time. So be sufficiently fluid on insertion to give accurate surface details. So if you have mixed it properly, it should flow properly so that the surface details which you are taking should be very, very accurate. The taste, smell and appearance should be very, very good, because the patient has no idea what you're taking, what you're doing. So the only thing you should feel is a good taste, a good smell and a good appearance, so that it is not very disadvantage, it cannot work as a disadvantage to the patient, and it should be very, very comfortable to the patient. The patient should not feel bad about taking it in the mouth. Okay, so the taste should be good, smell should be good and the appearance should be good. It should have no dimensional changes either in and out of the mouth or at the normal degrees of temperature and the humidity. So obviously it is not very good in dimensional stability, but it should not be that bad that you just took it out of the patient's mouth and it got distorted. So it should not be that bad in dimensional changes either. Set or harden at or near the mouth temperature. So I have to tell you one thing here. So many times you will see what happens is, if your impression material is very, very old, especially your alginate is very, very old, for example it is 2-year-old, what is going to happen is, you're going to mix it, put it on the tray, load it on the tray and put it in the patient's mouth, and you will see that it will not set on room temperature, or it will take very, very long to set. Okay, so that is the reason that your impression material should either set or harden at or near the room temperature or the mouth temperature only. It should have a suitable working and setting time. It should not set while you're mixing. Be compatible with dye and model materials, and very, very important, it should be inexpensive, because alginate is something you need on every other patient. I mean, if it is expensive to your pocket, the whole treatment is going to be very expensive, right? Now coming to the composition of alginate hydrocolloid, this is very, very important. You need to know this by heart. What is alginate hydrocolloid made up of? That is the only difference between a dentist and a normal person. A normal person would know the uses, but he would not know the composition. So remember the composition. Okay, now the first thing we have here is sodium potassium alginate. Now the sodium potassium alginate is a main component, which is 15% by weight. If you dissolve it in water, it will form a viscous sol, being soluble in nature. The next thing is the calcium sulfate. Now calcium sulfate here is the reactor. Okay, it is going to react with the sodium alginate. So this reacts with the soluble alginates to form an insoluble calcium alginate. Now what happens is, we just saw this sodium and potassium alginate is soluble in nature. So as soon as you will mix it in the water, it will dissolve. But if you have this calcium sulfate reactor, then what is going to happen is that it will not dissolve in water. It will form an insoluble mix. Okay, only when you are adding this calcium sulfate. This is a reactor. It will react with the sodium alginate. This is 16% by weight. Also remember the weight. Okay, now coming to the zinc oxide, this acts as a filler particle. It is 4% by weight. Then we talk about the potassium titanium fluoride, that is the PTF. PTF will be acting as an accelerator, and it will help in better setting of the alginate, and that is 3% by weight. The next thing is diatomaceous earth, which is 60% by weight, and this also acts as a filler. A filler is going to basically provide good strength and stiffness to the impression. Now sodium phosphate is a retarder. If reactor is acting, then we need something to retard the reaction also, and that is the sodium phosphate, which is 2% by weight, and this reacts with the calcium sulfate there to retard the setting of the impression. Otherwise it will become very, very thick, right? Very, very hard. So it reacts, this sodium phosphate reacts with this calcium sulfate to retard the reaction. They both were having a reaction. To stop this sodium phosphate acted here. The next is the coloring and flavoring agent, which are in traces, and this is very, very important component, because that is the only thing which is going to make your patient comfortable with the impression material. Moving ahead to the setting reaction, what exactly happens is, this is basically the retarder and the reactor. We just saw what are the retarder and the reactor. They both reacted together and they form the insoluble alginate. That is what is happening. Okay, moving ahead to the classification. Type 1 and type 2, we have two type of alginate in the market. Type 1 is going to be fast setting, type 2 is normal setting. Now type 1, which is fast setting, is going to set very, very quick, that is in 45 seconds, and the normal setting one or type 2 one is going to take about 1 minute to set. Now over mixing can result in reduction of the final strength. If you mix the alginate over, then it is going to reduce the strength of the material. Also the working time will be reduced. It will start getting set in the process of mixing only. Undermixing will lead to poor recording of the detail. If it is not smooth enough, if it is having lumps, then there will be bad recording of the detail, or inadequate wetting can lead to lack of homogeneity. That means the mixture will not appear to be smooth enough. Okay, you see here it is so smooth from every side because this is mixed properly. If you do not mix it properly, it will be powdery from some edge, mixed properly from some, and not from the other. Okay, lack of homogeneity will be seen. Then coming to the working time, so the fast set alginate takes about 1 minute and 25 seconds. It gives you the working time of about this much, and the normal set gives you about 2 minutes. Gelation time is basically the setting time. So for fast setting alginate, about 1.5 to 2 minutes is required. You put the tray for about this much time in the patient's mouth in fast setting alginate, and for normal setting alginate, you put it for about 3 to 4.5 minutes. The ideal gelation time, very important, is about 3 to 4 minutes. Now the dentist can control the setting time by altering the amount of temperature of the water that is used. If you are using a colder water, then remember there will be longer gelation time. That means the setting time will be increased. If you are taking a warmer water, then the gelation time is going to get shortened. That is, the setting time will reduce. Moving to the disadvantages and advantages, if you get to have a short note on the differences, then the advantages is that it is very easy to mix and manipulate. Minimum requirement of any kind of equipment. You just need a scoop and a measuring cylinder, a bowl and a spatula. It is very low cost, it is inexpensive and very pocket friendly. Comfortable to the patient. The patient comfort is the first priority, and that we get from alginate. Accuracy, if you handle it properly, then you get accurate results in most of the cases. Gives a good surface detail even in the presence of saliva, very important point. But now what are the disadvantages that has to be corrected? Firstly, it is irreversible. Once you have taken the impression, if there is any kind of bad recording, or if you do not get accuracy from either one position, you cannot correct it. Okay, so it cannot be corrected. You again have to repeat the whole procedure of taking the impression from starting. Poor dimensional stability. You cannot store it for a very longer period of time. But if you're supposed to store it for like about 15 to 20 minutes, what you can do is you can take a damp napkin, wet napkin, and you can put it on the impression material. Now poor tear strength. It is not having a lot of strength. It can very easily get distorted. It is not recommended where a high degree of accuracy is required, like in case of RPDs and FPDs. If you need a high amount of accuracy, in that conditions you cannot use this. So this was the part 1 of video in which we studied everything which was related to components, disadvantages, advantages. In part 2, we'll be talking about the tray selection and patient guidance, how you're supposed to handle a patient with alginate impression. So this was all about part 1. Do watch part 2 also, and like, share and subscribe. Thank you.